What's up, world? Wake y'all asses up. This is another episode of King of DeBerry's podcast. And on this episode, I have a very special guest here with me today. I have Darjane. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Darjane, also known as Moon, also known as Moon Dust on Instagram. I am a licensed mental health professional supervising in social work, meaning I am in supervision for my license. And I'm happy to be here.
Yes. You see all those credentials she got? Yo, let me give y'all a little bit of backstory on how I met Moon, as she like to call herself sometimes. So this was during my phase, y'all. As y'all seen in previous podcasts, I was going through my divorce, and I was in the process of finding myself. And I was actually taking pictures at Maymont Park. So people that's in Richmond, Virginia, they're probably familiar with Maymont Park. They got the animals and all that stuff there. I was in the process of taking pictures with my daughter to, I was trying to do different things, step outside my comfort zone. I'm not a big picture taker, but I was like, you know what? I want to have memories with my daughter. With just me and her. Now that I'm getting out of this relationship, I need to focus on like creating memories with her and having something tangible. So what happened was we drove up to Maymont. I'm late for my appointment to take my pictures, and I can't figure out where the photographer is. So me and my daughter is walking, and I see Moon walking by the it's like a little lake. It's a lake over there in the in the park. And so I see her walking by the park. I'm like, oh man, she is pretty. But I don't got time to focus on her right now. I gotta hurry and get to take these pictures. So I keep walking, realize I'm going the wrong direction. So then I pass by her again, and I'm like, dang, she really is pretty. Once again, it was like, I don't have time. I gotta get these pictures taken because these photographers, they still charging you whether you show up or not. So then I end up realizing I got to go a different route to get there. And this was my third time passing by her. And it was like, okay, God, this is a sign. I need to talk to her. So then we end up talking. We had a good conversation. We exchanged numbers. And Moon has been one of the coolest people I've met during this brief period of time. We known each other, like 2 years now?
I think it's been a year.
Yeah, it was like I know it was 2018.
Yeah.
It was April.
So
it was April.
2 years.
Yeah, it was April 2018. I remember. It was April 2018.
No, it was 2019.
It was 2019? Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah, she got it. It was 2019. So, it's over this period of time, like, she's been one of the coolest people to talk to. Like, she's so open and honest when we have our conversations, and we relate on a lot of stuff, and we definitely differ on a lot of stuff. We got different opinions on things like that. But the good thing about our relationship is that we can be open and honest with each other, and we don't take personal offense because at the end of the day, we want what's best for each other. So I'm definitely excited to have her on. This has been a long time in the making. She's been a supporter of the podcast and of my lives and all of that stuff. And she hit me up in the inbox, and she said that the thing she wants to talk about, or the main topic that she wants to talk about, is self-acceptance. So, Moon, I'm going to ask you, what does self-acceptance mean to you?
So I would say self-acceptance has a lot to do with learning to love the parts of yourself that you're told are not lovable. For example, if you are of a thicker person, a bigger person, you're depicted as unattractive, and that maybe you need to lose weight. And you may go to certain kinds of extremes to kind of get to that ideal image. And you'll never get there that way, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you got to learn how to love the parts of yourself that you are told are not acceptable, right? So I feel like self-acceptance is like the beginning of transformation, kind of.
Uh-huh.
And me personally learning how to accept where I am, how I am, and whatever like moment was like the catalyst for like who I am like right now today. So yeah.
So
That's what it means.
So when you say transformation, what do you mean by the transformation? Like what transforming into what?
I will give a little backstory.
Okay.
I used to be like a thicker, bigger girl, right? And I always personally view myself as unattractive. However, I never could change the way I looked, even though I wanted to so badly, because I didn't accept myself the way I was. And it kind of, it was like a cycle of, okay, so I don't want to be this weight. So I'm going to work out, but I'm sad because I'm this weight. So I'm going to eat. Like, that's my coping. I'm going to eat. Or I'm not going to eat for like a day, and then I'm going to binge on like whatever I love to eat, right? So I never could lose weight. So it wasn't until like I accepted how I looked, and learned to love the way I was, that I actually made like real change in my life. Like, even though I didn't want to be the weight that I was, it wasn't until I learned to appreciate some things about myself. Like, okay, so I'm not going to use that as an example because that's not appropriate. Like, maybe like the way my stomach was, like, the way my stomach hung over my pants. And I use writing a lot, so I just wrote about my body and the way that it was, and learned to appreciate it and was grateful for the way that it was. But then I also could like recognize how I needed to make like real change in my life, because I noticed kind of the cycle that I was in. Like, I don't like how I am, I get sad, I eat, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So if I learn to appreciate how I am, I don't create that cycle anymore. I don't get sad. I don't eat to kind of soothe my feelings, so I'm able to lose a little bit more weight, or I'm able to stay consistent with like good eating habits. And this also relates to kind of like my experience with depression. So I'm trying to think about how I'm gonna word this.
Yeah.
I was like in a very dark place because I felt like I needed to be somewhere that I wasn't. Like, I graduated from college, I was unemployed, and I was homeless. That's a hard pill to swallow. Like, you spend 4 years of your life, you spend all this money to get a degree, which, you know, everybody tells you get a degree, you're going to be better off, right?
Yeah.
And then you're homeless and
with a degree.
With a degree. So, like, now you got all these bills piled up that you need to pay. And so I fell into like a very, very deep depression because I wasn't where in my mind I thought I should be. And it wasn't until I accepted the fact that, like, one, I had a baby. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I just had a baby. Just accept where I was in the moment. Like, I just graduated, so I need to, like, I'm navigating a new space that I never been in. So it wasn't until I accepted where I was that my life began to change. Because I expressed more gratitude for my accomplishments.
Yeah.
And I recognized that I am doing the best I can. So I can accept where I am. I can accept myself for where I am. I don't need to be where someone or the world has told me I should be in this moment. So yeah.
I think that's amazing. And the biggest thing, like, out of what you said that I took away and that I try to implement myself is you got to enjoy the journey. Some people, I think, want instant gratification. A lot of people want instant gratification, like, right away. And, of course, like, for your example, who wouldn't just like to snap their fingers and then, like, they be their perfect weight? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who wouldn't love to do that? Who wouldn't love to, like, snap their fingers and be a multi-millionaire? Like, who wouldn't love to do that? But from what I've learned and from things I read and stuff like that, the people that really achieve where they're trying to go to, they learn to enjoy the journey. And when I say about enjoy the journey, that doesn't mean like you're not gonna have downtimes. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna be sad or lack confidence sometimes or things like that. But that means working on yourself to constantly overcome those mental obstacles that you face. Overcoming those that self doubt, overcoming the self image, how you look, things like that, and really focus on where you want to go. And the people that learn how to just continuously work on themselves to conquer those like personal hurdles to get to where they want to go, they learn to enjoy the journey and they enjoy the little small successes. You know what I'm saying? The little small things like, yo, you know what? Hey, I could have went out and grabbed something to eat. I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I drink water. I ate a healthy snack. Yo, people that's out there that's dealing with like weight loss, you got to appreciate those little small gains and pat yourself on the back because it's so easy to like do all of this work and then you get on the scale and you don't see the results. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't see that result. Or it's so easy if you're an entrepreneur out here, you go make all of these calls and you went on all of these appointments, and by the end of the week, you didn't make the amount of money that you had wanted to make. It's all about the activity. It's all about the activity and just keep chipping away at your goals and things like that. Right. So I think that's a really big part right there. And I think that's something that everybody struggles with is that self-acceptance. And like, what do you think that comes from? I know you touched a little bit on like society. Like, what do you think it is that makes people so self-conscious and so tough to deal with themselves?
I think a lot of it has to do with society. We're told that we're supposed to look a certain way, be a certain way, dress a certain way to appease who? Somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And so we spend a lot of our lives trying to appease somebody else. So much of it to the point that we no longer know who we are. So then what do? If you're like 23 and all your life you've been being somebody for somebody else and not for yourself. And I think it's just easier to appease everybody around you because you don't have to deal with the critiques that people might have for you deciding to be who you are, love who you are, the way you are, and accept yourself despite what they're telling you. You know what I'm saying? So this is a good transition to a topic of how you're able to be sexual as a woman in public and not be perceived as a hoe. Now.
Oh, that's a good one.
Now, that's funny because, one, I can't control how somebody perceives me. I don't know how somebody perceives me. They could very well believe I'm a hoe. And that's on them. Because
that's their thoughts.
That's their thoughts.
Yeah,
like, it really has nothing to do with me. So, I guess I say that to say that I can't control someone's perception. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what makes me happy because I have learned to accept myself the way I am in this moment. Like, I may not be this way at 30, but...
Don't make me sound damn. That made me feel bad. You made it seem like that's an old age.
It's not old. It's not old.
Yo, we was just talking, before we came on, we was just talking about birthdays. She's an Aquarius just like me. So Aquarius season right around the corner. And I'm about to get to turn 31, and she talking about, when I'm 30, I might not think this way, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, like, so I use my social media as a way of exploring my sexuality and my feminine energy, right? So, me posting my body, is for me. So, however somebody perceives me, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. Like, if they decide to come in my inbox and ask me to do some, like, sexual acts, I know for a fact that's not what I'm going to be engaging in. And the block button is very real. So, blocked. But
You've activated that one, huh?
Right. So, I can't... That's how I can do what I do and quote unquote not be perceived as a hoe in my eyes. I'm still gonna do it, whether somebody perceive me as a hoe or not, because I know what I am, and I got to go to sleep with myself, so I know what I'm doing, and I know what makes me feel good and what's helping me to grow as a person. So. Yeah, that's me on my little soapbox, and I'm going, get off.
I got a question for you though. So this is what some people would say: why even put it on social media, or why put it on Facebook or Instagram? Why even put that out there? Why not just take the pictures for yourself and keep it for yourself?
So it's kind of my accountability, to myself, because I have like this schedule, because I have people who follow me who I inspire. So I have this schedule, like I'm gonna have to post on such and such a date, or I can't go a certain amount of time without posting, and that makes me have to write and reflect in order to post, because I don't really post anything without a reflection. Or relating it to kind of the whole theme of my Instagram, which is like self-acceptance, self-love, growth, transformation, etc. So it's kind of an accountability thing for me. But for anybody who is doing that, for anybody to question why they are doing it, for anybody to say, oh, they might be doing it for attention, my intentions are not the same as yours, and people have the tendency to project. So, like I said before, I can't control how anybody perceives me. Like, I can control what I do, and I can control how I feel. I can't control how somebody perceives me. I can't control what they do, and I can't control how they feel. The fact that they choose to engage with me it says enough, to me. Like, a lot of people want you to hate yourself because they don't like themselves very much. So it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So that's that on that.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I think it is kind of like what you was talking about as far as with the projecting thing. Like, is that something I would do? No, I'm not to that level yet. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's different. Everybody got their own opinion. But the funny thing to me is that, you know, it's not like you going out adding to people. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you going out adding to people. It's not like, you know, people that do like with most social media where they're building followers or building fans, and not saying this is what you're doing, but even people that's doing for that purpose to become famous or to gain fame is, you know, if you don't like it, hey, it's other people to turn to. Right. You know, it's other people to follow and things like that. And I can say personally, because I know you, I know that's not what you doing it for. And actually, Moon actually inspired me to like work on my spirituality. She was really a big part of me tapping back into my spiritual self. This probably this is another podcast. We ain't even gonna go into that. But she definitely was big on, like, you know, getting in touch with your personal self, with your real feelings, who you really are. All of those type of things, getting in touch with nature. During this time when I met her, I was a vegetarian. So, you know, the power, this is another thing I think we both believe in, is the power of attraction. Mm-hmm. And like, when you put out a certain energy, you receive that certain energy back. And so I was in that process of really trying to find myself and work, you know, to work to better myself. And then I meet people like her. I meet other friends. I meet other great people that have been a big part of my life. And, you know, it's a really cool thing when you put out good energy, how that good energy come back to you.
You are onto something that, like, oh my God. So that's also relates to how you can, like, be yourself and do what you want and feel great in doing it and not be perceived in a certain way, because it relates to, like, your energy. Like, you know not to come at me any kind of way, because my energy is like, nah, she ain't having it. Her ancestors got her back. Y'all better back up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you make a really great point. Like, what you put out, you attract back. How you're vibrating, what vibrational energy you on, is what you attract. So if someone is vibrating lower than you, they might try you, but they know they can't try you.
They get that block button.
Right. So you know what I'm saying?
They get that block.
You know what I'm saying? But you attract people who are on the same vibration as you, and that's how you can be yourself, and not be perceived in a certain way. Like, that self-acceptance and that self-love puts you on a different kind of frequency. Like, where them people who, like, ain't there yet, they can't mess with you.
Yeah.
So, that's a great point.
Yeah. And that energy too, and this kind of go into that perceived as a whole thing. In my opinion, it's tough to see it on like on Instagram or like through social media. You just go based off the pictures and you go based off the caption. The cool thing about Moon is when y'all go check out her page, which I know y'all definitely gonna do, and follow her. When you check out her page, the caption is like poems. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like a reflective form of writing when she does her posts. So I think that's something that, you know, that if people actually take the time to read it, they might can't get by the pictures sometimes. They might not get by the picture. They might not get by the picture sometimes.
Do not do that.
But if they get by the picture and read the caption, then they might be like, you know what, hey, she on a different type of level. But then also when you meet people in person too, is you get a different energy. Cause I'm gonna tell y'all, when I met Moon for the first time, and then I see her Instagram, I like, yo, is this the same person? I like, yo. Yeah, I was like, yo, just like cause her vibe, her aura is definitely different in person, and that's why I try my best, and I'm not perfect at it, but I try my best not to judge people until I really get to know them, cause you never know what people went through, you never know who they really are until you get the chance to meet them, conversate, and get an understanding of them, and I think that's kind of relates to this topic because I feel like it's been other women that I met and that got a bunch of followers and put up a bunch of pictures on Instagram, and I carry my relationship with them different than I do with you. And now, I'm off the market now. So, hey baby. but when I was single and mingling, I carry everybody differently because like you said, it's the energy level. It's the energy, how they vibrating, how's your connection with that person. And I think to not interpret people as a whole, first off, it got everything to do with the person you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. So I think that's a really big thing. Just like you said, just making sure you have that self love within yourself that, no matter what somebody say, it doesn't affect you because you know who you are deep down inside. Right. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I will say that to like tie it back into kind of like self acceptance, my social media is like my alter ego. like the pictures that I post are sometimes like my alter ego. And it's me kind of accepting the fact that I'm like a multifaceted person. Like, I'm not just this professional person all the time because at the end of the day, that's going to make me feel like not complete to be just that one person. I'm also a very sexual person. I'm not always like very masculine, even though I have the tendency to be kind of on the masculine side sometimes, just because of like life circumstances and stuff. I'm feminine, so I like to exude that as well on my social media. So I think that like a part of self acceptance is unapologetically accepting every part of yourself and not feeling ashamed or guilty for being any part of yourself because it's not quote unquote acceptable to society or whoever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, I got a good question. I just thought about this, and we probably should have touched on this beforehand. What does sexuality mean? Like, in your opinion, what do you feel like sexuality mean? Like, because I think when somebody say, "Oh, I'm a sexual person," so a lot of people be like, they might, link that to being a hoe. Like, oh, you just like to have a bunch of sex. You know what I'm saying? With anybody or things like that. So, what does sexuality mean to you?
Sexuality for me is learning what I enjoy, what excites me in like in a sexual in a sexual way. And when I say I'm a sexual person, I do in fact mean that I enjoy sexual activities. And does that mean I'm having sex with a lot of people, a lot of different people? No.
Yeah.
That's somebody else's decision to come to that conclusion. Like I said, I cannot control that. But yeah, when I define a lot of things, I'm going to say it's like a learning kind of thing because I'm still exploring what things mean to me. But yeah, I think sexuality for me is me figuring out what excites me, what makes me tick, sexually.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's kind of like how I would define it is, exploring sex. But sex is it's a broad thing because you got the actual act of sex, you got like oral, you got all of these different aspects, you got the foreplay. I think all of that stuff is encompassed into sexuality. And like you said, when somebody's a sexual person or a sexual being, that does not mean they are that with every single person. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean they're that with every single person. But that just means when they have that connection with that person and they feel comfortable with that person, those are things they like to explore. I'm that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's definitely, I would agree with you on that. And that kind of goes into like our next topic too, which is like relationship with self. And that tie in a lot, I think, with that because sex is a natural part of relationships. That is a natural thing. It's a natural thing. And so when you say your relationship with self, I feel like that comes with I think relationship with self and to tie it in with sexuality is like you got to try different things to know what you like. Right. Just like relationship with self is also your relationship, with your spiritual or your religious relationship if you're religious. Having that connection, your mental connection with yourself, understanding what make you tick, understanding things you like, things you don't like. I think also it comes with emotion, gaining emotional intelligence, becoming more emotionally stronger, and that's something I really had to like work on. Yeah, she looking at me. She know.
I know.
It's something I definitely had to work on is being more emotionally stronger, and then also I think relationship with self is also physically, like working on your physical body as well. Everybody don't gotta be a bodybuilder, but you still your body's your temple, and you still need to take care of it that way. So even if you're not a big exerciser, you should be watching the stuff you put into your body, things like that. So how do you feel about like relationship with self, like, or some of the work you did to build that relationship with yourself?
And I thought about intimacy too when you were talking.
Yeah.
And that kind of relates to like my relationship with myself because it's been an uphill battle of like learning to accept myself, right? I didn't have that great of a relationship with myself because I didn't like myself that much. I had to learn to accept myself to kind of know that I need to, like, my relationship with myself is just as important as any other relationship.
If not more.
If not more.
Yeah.
It is more.
Yeah.
It is more important than any other relationship because any other relationship cannot succeed if you do not have a good relationship with yourself and if you do not know yourself. Of course, you can still be exploring, still learning, still figuring yourself out when you're having friendships and intimate relationships and relationships with family members. But it is very important for you to like at least know what you like, know what you don't like, know how to communicate with yourself so that you can communicate with other people. Exploring those kind of traumas you carry around. Because we put so much effort into learning someone else, pleasing someone else so that they love us, that we forget that we gotta put that much effort into like learning ourselves, pleasing ourselves so that we love ourselves, right? So I think it's very important to develop a good, like, solid foundation, meaning a good relationship with yourself. And it's been a real uphill battle for me. kind of because just coming from where I come from, and I'm trying not to like disclose too much, and understanding kind of the trauma that I've held on to due to like past situations and how I internalized it, and instead of like putting it outwards, I put it inwards. So for example, I have a difficult time trusting people, but really it's that I don't really trust myself, essentially. Or I don't, or for a while, I did not feel like I was worthy of love, right? And that's just because I really didn't understand myself. I didn't have a good relationship with myself. I was doing a lot of like avoiding myself. So it kind of seeps out into like the relationships that we develop with other people, because I didn't know how to communicate how I was feeling, or I didn't understand how I was feeling, or I wouldn't acknowledge how I was feeling. I could not communicate that to anybody else. And because I ignored the very basic like foundation of like having just a healthy relationship with myself, I could not have a healthy relationship, period. So yeah, it's been a real uphill battle. I'm not trying to disclose like a whole lot.
No, I understand. And that, to me, I think for all of us, especially for the listeners out there, I think the biggest thing we got to continue to learn to do is to forgive ourselves. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people have a tough time doing, is forgiving yourself. Because whatever decisions or whatever wrong things you did because of your previous experiences, and you did the best you could at that time. No, I don't know nobody that want to do bad. I don't know nobody that wants bad things to happen to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nobody that wants that. The reason those things happen is because of the tools that we was given. I don't care. You could take the person that had the best, all the money in the world, all of this and that. They still been through something. You know what I'm saying? And then you take people, regular, average people like ourselves, we definitely been through something. So those things, those traumas, all the way from little kids as we grow up to become adults, play a big factor in a lot of the decisions that we made. And a lot of people, whether consciously or subconsciously, they hold resentment for themselves. Just like you said, you have a hard time trusting others, but you realize you have a hard time trusting yourself. Like, yo, I'm in that boat. I sometimes I wonder if that's an Aquarius thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do, because like me and her that had discussions, and like we both natural loners. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. we both natural loners, and it is tough to. I'm not gonna say it's tough. We just don't. We have to work on learning to build relationships with people, with other people. It's so easy to just talk to people and then come back in our shell and not worry about nothing. It's tougher to become attached to people, and then you get that chance to get hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get that opportunity to get hurt. And I'm big on signs and stuff like that, but I think that's just a people thing. It's a lot of people. It's some people out there that's the opposite. They rather give themselves to other people because they don't want to take the time to look into themselves. It's vice versa. Everybody has something they need to work on. But the main thing is learning to forgive yourself for any decisions you made, because if you don't forgive yourself, it's going to be hard to move forward and one, either not make the same mistake again,
Mm-hmm.
or two, you never feel complete.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it always feel like you missing something, and that's something that like everybody out there, I just hope y'all continue to work on, is just learning to forgive yourself and find peace within yourself. Just constantly searching for peace within yourself. Um, you got like anything else you want to talk about, as far as like self acceptance or anything like that?
I love that you brought up forgiveness, because that's something that I actually have been exploring for myself as of recently.
Oh, I know it must be recently.
So it's crazy that you say.
How's that process been for you?
It's been difficult, because you'll be surprised, kind of like some of the things that you feel ashamed for and guilty about, and that you're having a hard time forgiving yourself for. So it's been a very kind of emotional process for me, even more so than like learning to accept myself. But that's a part of self acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
It's accepting the fact that I didn't know better at that moment, so I did what I did because I didn't. I mean, what? Like, what was I supposed to do? So yeah, I love that you brought up forgiveness, and I don't think I have anything else on it.
Yeah.
At all. I think I said everything.
I'm curious to know, like, what is it like, and you don't got to go into detail or anything, but was it like a specific experience that happened where you was like, you know what, I got some forgiving of myself I need to do, or was it just like, you know, just going through your natural like self-reflecting, and you was like, you know what, like, I don't think I ever let this go before?
I think it was a combination of the two. In this like past year or so, I've like done some. I'm not gonna call it messed up stuff. I have learned some lessons about the way that I move about the world sometimes, and me not forgiving myself made it difficult for me to forgive other people who were involved in these, you know, situations where I was learning, right? So I just recognized that, like, I'm looking for forgiveness from other people, and I can't even forgive myself. I can't even forgive myself. Like, and I feel like a lot of us do that, and that has something to do with self-acceptance and self-love. Is that like the only forgiveness that really matters is from yourself.
Exactly. So. That's it. That's real though. That's real. I think what happened is people get so pressed on being forgiven by somebody else or being accepted by somebody else because they can't forgive themselves, and they feel like, oh, if this person forgive me, then I can forgive myself, and things like that. Like, it's crazy stuff that go on out here in this world. Like, it's so much craziness, but at the end of the day, none of it really matter because it's perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yo, it's people out here that go out here and kill other people, and in their brain, they feel like they doing it for a justifiable reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and they can live with themselves. They forgive themselves. They like, you know what? I did what I need to do. I'm at peace whatever decision come now. So everything really does come with perspective. So really, like Moon said, it's all about, do you forgive yourself and do you accept yourself for how you are right now? And just because you accept yourself or forgive yourself for how you are right now, that doesn't mean that you want to be stuck there. It just means that, you know what, for this moment, this is where I'm at. I accept that. I did or didn't do this. But you know what, going forward, I'm working towards this. So I think that's a powerful statement. I think that's a good way to end it. What you think?
I think so.
All right, y'all. So before we go, Moon, go ahead and shout out your Instagram again.
My Instagram is @_moondust. That is @_MOONDUS. And follow me.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all make sure y'all check her out. I'll make sure I put her information in the description. But that's another episode of King of the Berries podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Moon, for joining us. She's been amazing. And we'll catch up with y'all later. Peace.
King of the Berry Podcast.